guys get involved in a lawsuit, there's going to be two guys coming in. One's going to be on the plaintiff side saying your standard care should be here, and then your defense is going to have another expert saying your standard care is down here.
Yeah.
You might be experiencing that you're being held to a higher standard.
And I would say no.
No?
No, I mean, it's argued in a court of law. You're absolutely right. The picture you painted as far as the plaintiff's expert versus the defendant's expert will argue. And the standards of practice are just like code. It's a minimum standard that then gets debated on accessibility. Did the condition exist when we did the inspection? There's all kinds of things that get argued. What does get boiled down, though, is duty of care, which is not a written document anywhere. It's that expert saying, well, here in the South Bay area, we test garage doors. Well, the standards say you don't have to test garage doors. So I can stand in a court of law in LA County and say our standards don't do it, but if that expert, and it's pretty much generally understood that all inspectors test them, therein becomes the duty of care that overrides. And there's other issues, I'm sure, similar to that.
Our code of ethics has provisions similar to the law. Prohibits, we cannot perform repairs on a house that we've inspected for 12 months. So that's a definite conflict of interest. Yeah, you got some plumbing issues, you got some electrical issues. By the way, I'm a handyman, so call me up. Well, I may not be as objective as I should be. Of course, we cannot accept kickbacks and payment for referral fees to agents. Statute of limitations, the law says that we have a 4-use statute of limitation from the date of the inspection. That if we once again we should have caught something at the inspection that was visible and there, then we'd be liable for that. And has some other information if the client requests energy efficiency examination. And if you're really bored, you can go to legalinfo.ca.gov to pull it all up and read it at night before you go to sleep. California licensing, currently, like I mentioned, there is no licensing for home inspectors in the state. So without such licensing, how do you choose a qualified home inspector? Well, one avenue is through CREA. This is the California Real Estate Inspection Association. We were formed back in '76. We're a voluntary, nonprofit, public benefit organization. We have chapters located statewide, and we're actually the largest state home inspection association in the country. We provide educational training and support services for its members in the real estate community. This is one of those classes that's actually formed through CREA. And if you need to find a home inspector, you can go to CREA.org. Our educational mission is to expand the technical knowledge of its members through continued education. Each one of the members has to go through a minimum of 30 hours of education each year, which is more than any other association in the country. So we have to go through quite a bit. We get that through monthly meetings, seminars, conferences, and also mentoring programs. There's different designations that members have. The entry level is called a CREA certified inspector. They have to pass a written test. It's a code-based written test, and it's actually, it has roughly about a 50% pass-fail rate. Retest, pass-fail, 50-50. Retest, guys that had to take it 3-4 times to pass it. It's not easy to get in. So once you pass that, then you can become a member. And then there's other designations. Master CREA inspector that Craig and myself were both members of. You have to go through a harder test to get that, and there's minimum requirements. And a CREA new construction specialist has to have some type of code experience. As far as our standards of practice go, which we have copies of, which with the latest revision was in 2006, they defined real estate inspection as a survey and basic operations of system components of the building which can be reached, entered, or viewed without difficulty, moving obstructions, or requiring any action which may result in damage to property or personal injury to the inspector. Where this becomes important is that if there's a a cabinet with some nice vases in front of the water heater closet door, I'm not about to move that. Because once I start moving things, I guarantee you I start breaking things. It's a responsibility of the sellers to provide access for us. I'd probably recommend that they move it, and then if I had time, I'd personally come back to take a look at that. Also with roofs, tile roofs, most of us don't walk tile roofs because they're susceptible to damage. Wood shake roofs, if there's moss on a wood shake roof and it's raining, I guarantee you I'm not walking it. So I'm going to get on my ladder from the side and see what I can inspect. Of course, looking for signs of leakage or stains inside the house as well. But sometimes we are limited to a certain point, either damage to the property or, of course, damage to myself. The purpose of the inspection is to provide a client with information regarding the general condition of the building once again, going into being a generalist. And cosmetic and aesthetics conditions shall not be considered. New construction, that's one thing I make sure they're aware of. If there's some chipped paint or there's some scuff marks, we're not noting that. Sometimes we'll have like the blue painter's tape and give it to the buyer. They'll go around the house, or sticky notes putting it all up so all that stuff can be touched up. So aesthetics we're not really concerned with. These are all the systems that we do inspect, and this presentation is a lot of technical information about general things. The next three classes that we have are going to go into these specific systems. Also, it's going to show you some pictures about common defects that we see, so we can kind of put some things in perspective for you. So it's not quite as technical as this class here today.
You'll be laughing. We did some pretty funny stuff.
Yeah.
That.
You know,
it's crazy.
It really shows what we do see, as well as some of the stuff that may not be typical that we do come across. And yeah. So we have foundations, basement, underfloor areas, exteriors, roof covering, attic area and roof framing, plumbing, electrical, heating and cooling, fireplace and chimneys, and building interior. We're going to be going through all those systems and breaking it down in a little more depth, letting you know what we do, as well as some of the things that we don't do. And once again, look for the logo and look for the badge.
I just had a home inspection, and the inspector said the linoleum floor should be replaced and the subfloor should be replaced because it's soft.
Okay.
And then I had a pest control inspector that came in, and he said he didn't find anything, water damage or anything.
Yeah, and that was my next question, would be whether it's in the kitchen, if there's past leaks. As far as what termite inspectors are looking for, they're looking for wood deterioration and so forth. Whether there was a prior leak that had been fixed and dried up, and the inspector thought that it was kind of spongy, where it wasn't really visually deteriorated from the bottom. He may have made that suggestion, but that would be an objective comment that inspector would have made.
But not necessarily something that has to be done.
Right, and it does point out that, I often joke, if you get enough inspectors in the room, you'll get that many opinions. And it's not unusual. So be prepared every now and then for the termite inspection report and our home inspection report to sometimes contradict, and it's worthy of a phone call for clarification. I found what was clearly termite damage, although we can't even use the word termite in our reports. Mm-hmm. I could take any of you into the house, and if we looked at it together, you'd go, yeah, that's termite damage. It was so obvious. It was just something that was overlooked by the termite inspector. The termite inspector had to go back, had to crawl under the house. I never heard back. I presume they found it and added that to their report. I'm sure I've been on the other side, where maybe I was a little overly cautious and maybe noted something and recommended something that really was borderline. But you're going to get differences. Everyone should be able to explain their opinion as to why they came up with it. Mm-hmm. And the part that I know you get stuck with as the realtor is, yeah, but my buyer's over here and they're freaking out. So they're the ones that we need to convey our opinion, and so they need to be able to have good bedside manner, for lack of a better term, in talking to their client. They're mutual. We're mutual clients here, mm-hmm. to be able to tell them, this is what I'm seeing or sensing or feeling, and this is my